All right, welcome everybody. My thought for today's class is, or the pose that we are doing today is sundial pose. So if you're like, oh, what the heck pose is that? It's a very interesting seated position, a hamstring stretch, big twisting opening pose. So it's complicated to get into, but the idea behind it that I think is so relevant is that it's directional, right? Sundials, if you think of them in actual reality, is that's what they do, is like they measure the sort of direction that the sun is or how it's moving around this one base, right? That's what a sundial does. So in the same way as you're getting into the pose, is there's a lot of revolving that happens, right? The legs are moving one direction, the ribs are moving one direction. But the internal sort of process that we're going through is the same sort of directional, is where am I facing, right? Not what am I trying to avoid, not what am I trying to manage, but just where am I orienting myself? Where am I pointing myself? Where am I placing myself in reference to the world, or in reference to even what we consider the big light, right? The big sun, the divine. So we're in that positioning, right? All the time of somewhere in the midst of the world and that big light, right? And it's only when in certain positions that we feel like that creates shadows or struggle, when the two are not seeming like they're fitting together well. But that as we change our orientation, then that light aligns itself, right? The shadows shift, and then we align ourselves better so that what comes through us from that infinite space moves into the world in a very easy way. But that happens because of the way we adjust, the way we align, right? So this is the sort of internal attitude for sundial, is that it's very much about how you are approaching the orientation of your body that makes the pose easy or not, right? Or that you work with your limitations or your restriction in your body in an easeful way or not, right? A comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And just for a breath or two, imagine the breath circulating through the spine. So on the inhale, you're drawing the breath all the way up the spine to the top of the head. And the exhale, it's flowing down the spine from the top of the head all the way down to the base. And a couple more breaths, inhaling the breath up. Exhaling the breath down. I almost think of it as like if you could imagine the way a cat's back kind of articulates as you stroke their back kind of moves with your hand, is try to feel as though your breath and your back are moving in that same way. So like the stroke of the breath, you feel it along your spine. And then with the next breath, you can inhale all the way up to the top of the head, and even above the head, as though it's like a fountain that starts to flow, overflows the top of the head, and then exhales, falls all the way back down, not just through the spine, but through the entire auric field. So as though you're sitting in the center of a fountain. As you inhale, the breath rises up, comes out the top of the head, fountains out and spreads, falls all the way around 360 degrees. You're breathing the breath all the way up to the top of the head and just above. And as you exhale, energy flowing down and around through the auric field. This is how the crown chakra is described, right? As though it's like an umbrella. It's not a formed circle at the top of the head, but it's an umbrella. This fountaining energy that is always just wrapping itself all around you. So our relationship to that energy, how we orient ourselves to it, we either feel it more fully present or we don't. You are the one that has the ability to shift your orientation. The light is just the light. It doesn't move. The sundial is about how we orient ourselves to light, to dark, inner world, outer world. One more breath with that image, breathing all the way up the spine, out through the top of the head, feeling the breath, the energy of that just flowing all the way around you, not just through you, but around. And then keep the image if you'd like, or let it go if you'd like. Hands come together in front of the heart, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands from in front of your heart center, please. And then stay seated, but bring the bottoms of your feet together. Your knees go wide. Good. And then holding the ankles and give a little pull up on the ankles. So again, there's a feeling of lifting your shins. Good. Press your baby toes down into the floor, but hug your knees up just a little bit. So again, that hug up of the knees. So your knees squeeze in, your butt presses down. Good. And then start to lean forward. Take your forward fold, but keep that little squeeze of your knees. So as you come forward, you're tilting on your sit bones towards the front edge of your sit bones. Good. And that little hug of the knees. If you're squeezing your knees so much that you can't fold forward, relax enough so that you can lean forward and then re-squeeze the knees so that you get the engagement through the hips and the thighs. Good. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Nice. Again, Sundial requires a lot of flexibility through the groins, through the inner thighs, as well as the outer hips. So we start with that. Deep breath in. Good. And then exhale, come all the way back up. Nice, you guys. Cross the ankles, please. Roll forward to hands and knees. That was it. That was the whole focus on the inner thighs and groins. One Badakanasana. Kidding. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Begin to cat and cow. Inhaling, lifting the chest, drawing the pelvis up and back. So again, you're widening inner thighs, inner sit bones. And then exhale, curl and round. And as you curl and round, try and feel that you are actually trying to pull your pelvic bones, the front edge of your pelvic bones towards each other. Good. And then as you inhale, again, you're broadening, widening through the back of your sit bones, back of the pelvis. And as you exhale and you're curling in, draw that low belly up, 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 and try and squeeze the front points of your hips towards each other. It's a weird feeling or a weird thing to imagine, but try to do it. Good. So again, even here, we're starting to work rotation. So keep moving with your cat and cow, just focusing that the inhale is you're allowing the sit bones to flare nice and wide. And as you're exhaling, front of the pelvic bone, so attached to the same bone, just the other part of it, drawing those hip points in towards the center of the body, squeezing them in. Good. Couple more breaths like that. Inhaling, really stretching through the lower spine, opening the pelvis. Good. And then the exhaling, drawing in, broadening the lower back by drawing those hip bones towards the center of the spine, towards the center of the belly. Good. And then come back to a neutral spine, please. Nice. So stretch your right leg up and back behind you. Walk the left arm forward to straight, take a balance. They call it bird dog position. Good. Lift the back of your throat, lift your sternum up. Nice. And then bend your right knee, please. Kick your heel in towards your butt. Good. Lift that thigh a little higher. Yep. And then reach back for the foot or the ankle if you'd like, or you can completely stay where you are. Take the hand behind your head if you're not reaching for the foot. Good. Nice, nice, nice. And then kick your foot back into your hand a little bit more and try and lift that right hip point forward and up. Yeah. So you're resisting the tilt of your pelvis. You're trying to level the front of your pelvis or tilt the front of the pelvis up towards your ribs. Nice. And then release the leg, please. Release the arm. Come back to hands and knees. Good. And then try the other side. Take the left leg up and back. Right arm walks forward. Take the balance. Nice. So you're working again, first just lengthening. So the sternum goes forward and up. The tailbone presses back. Nice. And then bend the left knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Lift the thigh a little higher. Don't reach for the foot immediately. So again, you get a little bit into just working the strength of the thigh. Good. And then reach the hand back to find the foot or the ankle. And then once you have that position, again, we tend to, once we grab onto something, is we start to collapse into the rib cage. So draw your low rib cage in and up and try and lift that left hip point forward and up. So again, it's almost like you're trying to bring your spine to neutral. Good, but that thigh is still up, your shoulder's still up. Nice, so you're back bending, but you're resisting it. Really good. And then slowly release, extend the arm, extend the leg. Nice job, everybody. And then release back to hands and knees. Good. Take your knees wide, big toes together to touch. Drop your hips back to your heels, child's pose. Good. And then walk your torso to the right, please, over the right thigh. You're pressing into both shins equally. So even though you're moving your shoulders over to the right, keep weight on both shins. Nice. And then bring yourself back to center, please, and go to your left. So I didn't ask you before we started if any of you actually know what sundial pose is. So if you don't, it'll be sort of fun that you're like, where are we going with this? You'll find out. One more breath. Most of you have actually probably done the pose. And then come back to center, please. Good. And then walk yourself back up to hands and knees. And stretch your right arm out wide to the right. Slide that arm behind your left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze. Walk the left arm forward towards straight. Good. And press into that right forearm. So you're pressing down into that arm, maybe even into the shoulder if it's settled on the floor, so that you have this sensation of pushing into that arm so that you have a lift through your rib cage. So you're not collapsing into that shoulder. Good. Because sundial is in fact a twisting posture, it requires there to be a twist through the torso and through the side body. So we want to make sure that we're very, very clear that in our twisting poses, or in our any of our poses really, but especially twisting, is that we're not just collapsing into the joints. Is we want the twisting action to really be coming from an internal place. So the back muscles, the abdominal muscles. Don't just come into a twist and drop your weight there, right? Keep it as an internal experience, core experience. Good. And then if you're pretty happy where you are, take that left arm up to the sky, turn the palm to face back, bend the elbow, reach around, take a little half bind. So you're reaching that hand to your outer right hip. Good. You're still drawing your low rib cage in, still trying to open the chest, and keep both shins anchored to the floor. Nice. Every single pose, if you go into it with an attitude of what is the dynamic of the pose, and I can stay in the dynamicness of it instead of I get into the pose and then I stop, is you're going to continue to find more from the position. So this is a big one for me in my mind, that don't just collapse into this. Good. Unwind that left arm, please. Nice. Come all the way back up to hands and knees. Good. Do a little wagging of your tail if you need, a little wagging of your shoulders. Yeah. And then switch to the other side. So left arm comes out and wide. Slide that arm behind the right wrist. Left shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze to the right. Good. And then walk the right arm forward overhead. Good. And so this sort of position, right, sundial, because we are rotating the torso, is that you end up doing that action that we often say in this kind of twist, if you're looking up under the armpit. All right, so the same kind of position is going to happen in sundial, which is why I want you to experience it first and have this concept of coming into that sort of twist from your core, from your navel, from your back, so that you're not using the connection of the hands to the legs to try to force yourself into this position. Good. So stay where you are. If you'd like, take that right arm up to the sky, turn the palm to face back, reach around, find the outer left hip or the lower spine. Good. And again, you're still drawing the rib cage in, pressing down through that left arm on the floor so that you're still twisting, right? The whole time you're in the pose is you're not letting go of that feeling of trying to draw your spine into that rotation. Good. And then unwind the right arm, please. Bring it all the way back down. Come back up to hands and knees. Beautiful. And then come back to downward facing dog for a moment. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Good. Bend your elbows wide. So you're in down dog, but you're bending your elbows out wide, drawing the arms into the shoulder socket. Pull your low rib cage in. Yeah. And then feel as though you are squeezing the arms together, even though nothing is moving, but you feel that you're isometrically squeezing, right? You're squeezing your elbows in so that those lower armpits get activated. Good. Now let the elbows rotate towards the back of your mat like you're actually hugging the upper arms towards the side ribs. Good. And then press into your hands, pull your hips back more to let the elbows come more towards straight. Good. Nice, nice, nice. One more deep breath, full breath into the spine, into the legs. And then drop the knees back down to the floor, please. Good. Walk your hands back so you can take your hands to your hips, come up to a high kneeling position. And then stretch your right leg out wide to the right. This is a gate pose. Good. So the heel should be in line with your left knee. Good. Stretch the arms out wide, letter T. So if you can have the foot flat first, so the toes are pointed mostly straight ahead, if that's possible, do that. Good. And then go ahead and slide that right hand down the right leg. Take the left arm over the ear, side body stretch. Good. You want to feel here like that extended leg, that you're squeezing that foot towards your left knee. So again, you're not sinking into the position, but you're using the extension of that leg to hug in, get those inner thigh muscles a little bit more awake, and stretch through the side body. So again, slide that right hand toward the ankle any amount more. Let yourself drop deeper. Good. Nice, you guys. And then keep that left arm over the ear, please. Stretch the right arm over the ear as well. So both arms reaching, still in the side body stretch. Good. Turn your ribs. So take that left rib cage open towards the sky a little more. Yep. Nice, Joanne. Nice, Mark. Good, Joy. And then come all the way back up, please. Arms out wide. Good. So now come up on that right heel. So turn your toes up towards the ceiling. So same leg is extended. Just come onto the heel and turn your toes up. Good. Yep. And same thing. You're going to slide that right arm down the right leg, left arm over the ear, but with the toes facing up. So it's a little bit of a different stretch, different orientation. Good. So same thing applies here, right? If you sink down, there's going to be a lot of pressure or a lot of weight potentially behind that knee. So dig your heel down and pull that heel towards your left knee, or pull it up in towards the pelvis. So your knee stays supported from underneath, and then lean. Good. That's it. Breathe into the side ribs. One more deep breath. Good. And then bring yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Release that right leg. Bring the right knee underneath the right hip. Switch to the other side. Good. Left leg comes out. Heel in line with your knee. So again, making sure that the foot isn't back behind you, so your pelvis isn't pulled out of alignment, right? You want to keep the hip points level with each other. Arms out wide. Good. Slide the left arm down the left leg, right arm comes over the ear. And again, with the feeling that even though that left leg is extended, so you're breathing through the whole inner edge, outer edge of the leg, is you're still hugging in. So that sort of isometric hugging in, really important. Good. So again, we talk about our orientation is that in yoga, it says that it's that our mind wanders away from an understanding of that inner light, or that big inner sun, the divine, whatever you want to call it. It's our mind that wanders away from that. And by wandering away, it creates that experience of shadows, but the light is the light, right? It's always there. You're the one that has the ability to shift. Keep that right arm where it is. Take the left arm up underneath the ear as well. So both arms reaching. Good. So you got to really hug those legs towards each other. Good. Twist the ribs open a little more. Right armpit opens towards the sky. You can even look up underneath that armpit if you're not already. Good. And then bring it all the way back up to center, please. Arms wide. Nice job. Come up on that left heel, please. So turn the toes up towards the ceiling. So it's a rotation of the thigh. Good. And then same position, slide the left hand down the left leg. Right arm comes over the ear. Good. Dragging back on the heel. So again, there's support underneath the knee. It's not a feeling of everything sinking down to the floor. Pull up. Good. Drag back on the heel. Nice, you guys. And maybe let that left hand slide a little closer towards the ankle. Go a little lower. Nice. Good. Right armpit opens. Yes. And then come all the way back up. Really good, you guys. Come back to both knees underneath the hips. Take the hands down to the floor in front of you. Good. And come back to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift the hips. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands. Lunge. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. High lunge. Good. And then take the arms out wide, letter T. Twist to your right, please. So turning towards that right thigh. And then bring the left forearm onto the right thigh. Take the right arm over the ear on the diagonal. Good. So again, this feeling of twisting through your ribs. I'm going to keep doing it because this is the position that Sundial is based off of, right? The ribs are twisting. So draw your low rib cage in here, almost like you're going to round into your back ribs. Good. And then draw that right rib cage, armpit, shoulder open just a little bit more. Nice. Good. Unwind the arms. Take both arms back up to the sky. Inhale. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good, you guys. Drop the back knee. Anjaneyasana. Use a blanket underneath the knee if you need. Take the arms back up to the sky. Good. And then bring the hands together at the heart center, prayer twist. Left elbow is going to come to the outside of that right knee. So same feeling though, right? Is I want you to have the same energy of your rib cage that you just had. So draw the ribs back away from your belly. Good. Draw that right armpit up and open. Nice. So the hook of the elbow against the knee is almost coincidental, right? It's just a comfortable place to leave the elbow. Right? So it's not in the way, but the twisting is actually happening from the core of your body, and feel your left inner thigh and left hip pushing wide to the left. That's your back leg, supporting leg. Good. Good. One more breath. Open the heart towards the ceiling. Beautiful. And then unwind. Inhale both arms up to the sky. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee up. Good. And then if you need blocks underneath your hands, make sure you have them here, but start to straighten your right thigh. So without changing the back foot, you're still in that long lunge position. Just straighten the front leg. Back heel stays lifted. So don't worry about it coming to the floor. Good. So straight legs, pull the hips up, 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 up. Squeeze the feet towards each other, hips up, 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 up. Good. And then release through the spine. So lengthen the chest towards your front toes, any amount, but butt up and back. Good. One more breath like that. Nice. And then bend the front knee, please. Step your left foot forward alongside the right. So both feet forward. Straighten the legs and bow. Good. Bend the knees. Drop your seat for chair. Take the arms up alongside your ears. Good. And then drop your butt back more. Take your torso parallel to the floor. So move your knees slightly back in space so they're in line with your ankles. Butt moves back even more behind your heels. Torso parallel with the floor. So reach forward. Good. And then round your back like you're doing that cat position. Pull up through your ribs. Nice. And then lift your chest up to meet where your ribs are. Yes. Good, you guys. And then release the hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. Nice job. Step the left leg back behind you. Good. Right leg comes back, downward facing dog. Just changed my mind of what I was going to do. So step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need, all the way to your belly. Widen your hands, so come to a wide armed cobra position. So walking the hands out a little wider away from the ribs, elbows lifted, and then inhale, lift head, neck, and chest with a wide arm, and then let yourself twist from side to side. So it's not a swaying from side to side, but it's actually a twisting. So lifting the right rib cage higher to the right, and then back towards center, and then lifting the left rib cage wider to the left, and back towards center, the whole time keeping your pelvic bones level to the floor. So don't twist the pelvis with you. Keep the pelvis rooted and move the ribs. Move from your belly. Good. Shoulders soft away from your ears. Nice, you guys. And then come back to center. One more breath. Drag back on the hands equally, chest up. And then come all the way back down, please. Nice job. Press back, downward facing dog. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. And step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Good. And then take the arms out wide, twisting to the left. So right hand is going to swing forward, left arm comes back. Bend the right elbow, place the forearm onto the front thigh, take the left arm over the ear, reaching on the diagonal. So imagining that here is you're basically doing a prayer twist, right? Lift that back thigh a little higher. And then from the navel, from the low rib cage, draw in towards the back body, and then start to rotate that rib cage, right rib cage under, left armpit spirals open to the sky. Good. Nice. And maybe you feel the connection that as you're trying to move that right rib cage, that it's connected to your right hip. So push that right hip wider to the right. Awesome. Come back up to center. Inhale the arms to the sky. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Drop the back knee. Inhale the arms up to the sky again. Anjaneyasana. Use blanket if you need underneath the knee. And then hands to heart center. Come into your prayer twist, but with that same feeling of moving from the core of the body. So as you twist, right elbow comes towards the outside of the left knee, but keep your ribs and your belly drawing back away from your thigh. So again, you're not sinking into the position, you're staying in the dynamicness of it. Good. This is one of those great images of, a sundial, is that any moment that you're looking at it is just that moment, because the light is always shifting, right? The idea of light and shadow is that it's always shifting. So you come back 5 minutes later and that position of the sun to the sundial is going to be different. Stay in the dynamicness of your life, the dynamicness of your pose. One more breath. Right rib cage tucks under, right hip pushes wide. Yeah. And then unwind. Really nice, Joanne. Come all the way back up, arms to the sky, deep breath in. Nice, Mark. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. Use blocks underneath the hands if you need. Lift that back knee up. And then without trying to place the heel down, just straighten your left leg. So pull the hips up and back, straighten both legs. Good. Back heel can stay as lifted as it needs to. The idea is to get into the length of the legs by pulling up through the hips and then releasing through the spine. So let your armpits drop towards your front foot. Let your spine get longer, like it's dripping towards the floor, but hips up and back. Good. This is one of those ways that we start to get into the feeling of really stretching the outer hip and thigh by just pushing through the length of the leg, through the foot, through the hip, through the pelvis. Nice. Bend the left knee, please. Step your right foot forward, both feet underneath the hips, standing forward fold. Good. And then bring your hands to your hips, come all the way up to stand. Good. Right knee comes up in towards your chest. Good. Begin to Garudasana, eagle pose. Right thigh crosses over top of left. Good. So the inner thighs and the outer shins are touching. Bend your left knee a lot. Good. And then wrap the left arm over top of the right in front of your chest. Pressing the forearms together. Good. Again, the idea here is you are exaggerating that internal rotation of the right leg. So try and really turn that inner thigh and knee towards the center of the body. Good. And then bend the knee a lot. Left knee bends a lot. Drop your hips. Good. Draw your armpits back in space. So it's like you're hugging the arms to the back of the heart. Beautiful. Bring your elbows forward towards your knees, round. So pull back through the rib cage. Pull back through the low belly. Good. Hollow, hollow, hollow. And then slowly unwind. Nice job. Good. Release the legs. Release the arms. Good. Give yourself a little shake if you need it. And then try the other side. Left knee comes up in towards your chest. Even if you don't need it, do the shake. Good. Left thigh crosses over top of right. Good. Really press the inner thighs towards each other and then really try and press the shins against each other. That's the thing, right? It's a hugging in towards the middle that makes this pose stable. Good. As you bend that right knee, take your right arm over top of your left in front of your chest. So right arm on top of left. Good. And really try and draw the shins towards each other. So you're spiraling that left knee, that left hip inward. Good. It's a metaphor for yoga, right? As we spiral our attention inward, inward, inward. Every time it tries to fly away somewhere else, we bring it back in. So whatever angle we're starting from, we're still orienting ourselves towards that inner light. Still orienting ourselves towards where is there clarity. Good. Bring the elbow forward towards your knee, round your back. You're the one that has the power to shift. That's the thing. It's not the light changing, it's you. Round and round and round. It's your mind. You are the sundial. Measuring your own light. Good. Slowly unwind, please. Let everything go. Feet underneath the hips. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Exhale, bow forward, hands to the floor. Nice. Step your left foot back just enough so you can take both legs to straight. Parivrtta. You can use blocks underneath the hands if you'd like. Good. Nice, you guys. Take one more breath, maybe coming up onto your fingertips so that you have a little lift through your chest, lengthen your spine. Then as you exhale, again, dropping, lengthening, dripping the spine towards the front leg. So it's not a pull, but it's a relaxing, even if the spine rounds a little bit. Good. And then step your left foot just a tiny bit wider to the left, turn your toes out just a little bit to 45 degrees, bend your right knee, and then take the arms up to warrior one. So it's almost the same position, right? You're just changing the back leg a little bit. Then arms up, warrior one. Good. Again, drawing that outer right hip crease back. So you're spinning the left hip forward, drawing that right hip crease back. Good. And then bow forward parallel to the floor. So take your torso forward, arms still alongside your ears. The idea is that as your torso comes forward, you have to put more weight into your back leg. So move your hips back. Good. Don't let all the pressure come into the front knee. Press backwards. Nice. You lengthen your spine, not by trying to go forward more, but by pressing back. Awesome. And then scoop the arms, scoop the belly, come all the way back up, warrior one. Nice. And then spin the back heel up to high lunge. Yep. Take your hands back behind you, interlace the fingers, deep breath in, and bow inside the front knee all the way, head to the floor. Go for it. Take the arms up and over. Good. You could also do this in warrior one, again, if you're not lifting that back heel today. Good. Release the hands down to the floor, please. Nice job. Step your left foot forward just a little bit. Again, take both legs to straight, back to Parivrtta. Again, blocks underneath the hands if you need. Good. And then come up on the front heel. So lift the front toes, the right toes up off of the floor. And again, dig down through that heel and pull up like you're pulling that thigh or sucking that thigh up into the hip socket. Good. So all of that lengthening action is really happening through the lower body, through the legs, through the pelvis. And then the upper body drips, right? Let it melt. Let it become like it's just liquid. Good. And then release those right toes down to the floor. Nice job. Step your left foot forward, top of your mat. Good. And then step the right leg back, Parivrtta, second side. Good. So again, both legs come straight. Both hands stay on the floor to begin. And again, Sundial is really about getting into the length of the inner thigh, the length of the groin. So again, all of the attention here is we can practice this pose with the kind of thought that, oh, I want to get my spine as long as I can get it. Great. That's important. But for the purpose of this position that we're aiming for is that we really want to focus on the length of the legs, so the lower body aspect of the position. So if your upper body is going to restrict that excessively, I want you to let it go. Right? Relax a little bit into knowing that your back is going to round or your shoulders are going to round. Good. But do press into your feet and try and pull your hips up and back. Nice. And then step the right foot a little wider to the right, turn the toes out to 45 degrees, bend your left knee, take the arms forward and up, warrior one. So your ribs are facing the same direction. Good. And again, you're drawing the top of the left thigh back in space, right hip spins forward. Beautiful. And then take the torso forward parallel to the floor. And as you take the ribs parallel to the floor, pull back through your seat. So get stronger in that back leg, send your inner thigh back and up. Good. Squeeze that left butt cheek back and in. Yeah. So the chest is continuing to lift forward, but you get longer because you're pressing back through your hips. Push back. Nice. And then scoop the belly, take the arms all the way back up, shoulders back up, warrior one. Good. And then take the hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at the low spine, deep breath in, then bow inside the front knee. Good. Shoulders towards that inner shin. So don't let yourself go wide towards the upper right-hand corner. Keep your hips in line with your ankles. Left butt cheek draws in. Good. Nice. And then go ahead and release the hands down to the floor, please. Good. I think I did that on high lunge on the second side, but whatever. Step that right foot forward just a little bit. Take both legs to straight. Parivrtta. Good. And then this time, again, using blocks underneath the hands if you need, come up on the front heel. So as you lift your toes up off the floor, you're digging down through the heel, dragging back. Good. So you're getting even more into the length of that leg. Pull up through your pelvis. Nice. Nice, you guys. One more breath, really drawing up through the space of the low belly. Press your butt up and back, hips up and back. You have a leg that goes 10,000 miles long. Good. And then release that foot down to the floor, please. Nice job. Step your right foot forward alongside your left, standing forward fold. And separate the feet as wide as your mat. Toes facing straight ahead. Bend your knees, drop your thighs parallel to the floor. Good. You can walk your hands just inside your feet so that your forearms are up against your inner shins, hands on the floor. Yeah, just so that you have this sensation of actually pushing your forearms against your shins and squeezing your shins against your forearms. So I just want you to feel that the hugging in of the lower legs, but the widening of your sit bone. So try and pull your butt cheeks wide as you hug your shins in. Good. Now maintain that, stretch your arms alongside your ears so your torso parallels the floor. Knees still bent, thighs parallel to the floor as well. So butt pushes back. That's it. Beautiful. Nice. And then release the hands down to the floor. Please turn your feet wide out to 45 degrees, both feet. Bend the knees, drop down to squat. Good. And then right hand touches down inside the right foot. Please take the left arm up to the sky. Good. Turn that palm to face back. Bend the elbow. Reach around to find your outer right hip. Good. Keep dropping your seat towards the floor, but lift your chest up. Good. And then again, you're drawing your rib cage in. So it's almost like you're trying to take your shoulders back in line with your hips. You draw your ribs back and spiral the left rib cage open. Beautiful. And then unwind, please, stretching that arm back up to the sky, bringing the hand back down to the floor, and switch. So left hand inside left foot, right arm to the sky. Good. Turn the palm to face back, bend the elbow, reach around to find your outer left hip. And again, you're dropping your seat, but lifting your chest. Good. And then trying to find where you can soften your rib cage in, rotate that right rib cage wider, throat back. Chest open. Nice. And then stretch that right arm back up to the sky. Good. And release the hand down to the floor. Nice job. Straighten your legs, turn your toes forward. If that's the longest squat you've done in a while, you're welcome. Good. Heel toe your feet a little closer, please. Step yourself back to downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. And then lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then come back downward facing dog. Beautiful. Step your right foot forward between the hands. And then take both hands inside the front foot. Walk to your left until you come to the center of your mat. Turn your legs or turn your feet. So you're in Parivrtta Padottanasana, wide-legged stance. Good. And then take your right hand to the floor straight underneath your chest. Take your left arm up to the sky, spinal twist. Good. Again, remembering that the twisting is coming from the core of the body. So draw the low rib cage in, almost no weight on that right hand. So you're really lifting through the rib cage. You're lifting through the muscles of the back. Good. And then release and switch. Left fingertips down to the floor, right arm to the sky. Again, same feeling of drawing in through the core of the body. Good. And then release. Good. So right hand reaches for your left ankle this time. So same twist, just a little bit deeper. And then left arm comes to the sky or hand to your lower back, whichever works better for your shoulder. But the idea of the twist remains the same, or the energy of the twist remains the same. As the ribs draw in, and again, you're spiraling that right rib cage under and rising up, opening through the left side. Good. Right inner thigh pulls a little wider, Joy. Just to balance your hips. There you go. And then release, please, coming back to center. Twist the other way, left hand to right ankle or shin, right arm to the sky. Good. Again, drawing the rib cage back and in, so you're really feeling this rotation through the ribs, that is the twist. It's not the hand meeting the ankle. Good. And then slowly release, coming back to center. Nice job, you guys. Good. Turn your right toes out to 45 degrees. Bend the right knee, coming into a side lunge, keeping the left toes flat to the floor for the first one. Good. And just one more breath, watching that your right knee is tracking over the second or third toe and your heel is not lifting. Good. So you're stretching through that left inner thigh. So lift and widen the extended leg. Good. And then come back up to center, please. Good. Turn those right toes forward. Turn your left toes out to 45 degrees. Bend the knee, come into the side lunge. Good. Again, tracking the toes over the center of the foot, widening, lifting that right inner thigh. Good. Come back to center, please. Turn the left toes forward. Right toes turn out again. Bend the knee, come back to the side lunge. Good. This time, if you'd like, you can either stay again exactly where you are or start to play with tucking the pelvis under more, rotating the tail down towards the floor, lifting your hip points up, and then coming up onto your left heel to that extended leg. Come up on the heel just like you did in gate pose. Good. So the rotation of the pelvis gives you a little bit more orientation, again, stretching through the groin, stretching through the hamstring in a different way. But you're dropping your seat, lifting your chest. And if you're super comfortable, hips coming pretty low towards the ground, and you want to take your arms up, one or both, you could go for that. You guys look like most of you, your hips are pretty high, so stay where you are. Nice, Joanne. Good. And then slowly bring yourself back to center, please, turning those left toes down, turning them forward. Good. Go the other way. Left toes turn out to 45 degrees. Go to that side into the lunge. And then again, the option is to start to come up on the right heel, rotating the sit bones under. So the inner thighs start to turn forward, but you still want your sit bones to be wide. So don't over tuck the tail. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in your groins. Good. Lifting your hip points up. And then again, if you're pretty low to the floor and you want to take one hand or both off of the floor, you're welcome to. Keep squeezing the foot and the extended leg towards each other. Good. And then slowly bring yourself back to center, please, turning both toes forward. Good. Pause for a moment, hold opposite elbows and hang. It's just my favorite way of getting you to really feel your legs is to let the gravity of your arms pull your spine a little longer and then squeeze your feet towards each other, but lift your hips high, high, high. So you're getting into the length of your legs by reaching up through your pelvis and pressing down through your heels. Good. And then release the hands back down to the floor, please. Nice job. Walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Turn those right toes forward. Good. And then step back to downward facing dog. Good. Deep inhale. Good. Deep exhale. And then as you inhale, come up on the tippy toes of your feet. Again, pulling the hips nice and high, squeezing the hands and the feet towards each other. So long spine. And then the exhale, keep your hips that high, but soften your heels towards the floor. Good. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Nice. And then again, inhale, lift your up onto your tippy toes, pull your hips super high, squeeze in. And then exhaling, softening the heels towards the floor. Good. One more time. Come up on the tippy toes, squeeze everything in. And then soften the heels towards the floor. Nice. Drop the knees to the floor, please. Take a child's pose. Knees nice and wide, big toes together to touch. Hips back to your heels. Good. Nice, you guys. Then walk the hands all the way back in. Come to sit on your butt. Yep. Good. Stretch the legs out wide. Upavista Konasana, wide-legged, seated position. If you need a blanket underneath your pelvis, make sure that you have that. Good. And then turning towards the right leg, so framing the right leg. Turn your belly towards that side, and then walk yourself straight ahead, forward fold over that thigh. Good, keeping your left sit bone rooted down to the floor. Good. Nice, you guys. So the challenge that we often find in seated positions, especially ones where, one leg has to be in the air or there has to be a lot of extension that's happening, is that our orientation, again, with the floor or with gravity is very different when we're seated than when we're standing. Right? When we're standing, we have the ability to adapt or compensate for the tightness in our spine or the tightness in our body in many more ways. So when you're seated, because you are now against a much more unforgiving or unmovable surface, is you have to find other ways to balance your body, right? So what we're working with somewhat in this position is finding the strength of the spine to stay lifted even while you are seated, right? Even though it's a different orientation. So some of these seated positions, again, the design of them or the purpose of them is to get into not only the flexibility of the lower back, but finding where you have an understanding of how to stay upright in your seat without rolling back on your pelvis. So pay attention to the levelness of your pelvis, to the connection that your sit bones have to the floor. Good. Walk yourself back up to center. End of dissertation. Turn your belly towards the left thigh. Good. Same thing, right? So as you're turning your belly to the left, you want to widen that right inner thigh and sit bone so it stays rooted to the floor. And then walk yourself over that thigh, forward fold. Good. Nice. The groins and the inner thighs are sometimes an interesting place to work because we naturally have a lot of vulnerability associated with that area of the body, but also it's a, position that is not common to have open groins in our lifestyle. It's not common, right? So part of, I think, much of our resistance to sundial is just that it's a very strange position to be in. You'll see when we get there, you'll be like, yeah, there's absolutely no reason why I would ever do anything close to this position in normal life. What we're looking for when we talk about that relationship with the inner light or the inner self in yoga is that it's not common. It is common because it's all the time, every day, but it's not part of your regular life experience until it is, right? So that moment of vulnerability or that moment of saying like, oh, I have to be so open that I feel vulnerable or that I feel exposed, that this feels awkward, not normal, is that we have to have that. We don't have to, but it's certainly part of having the awareness of, oh, the light is the light. And it's completely my perspective that is shifting around, creating shadows or not. Go ahead, take one more breath, turn your belly towards that thigh just a little bit more. So I just think it's interesting when you're working with poses that open the groins, that feeling of vulnerability might come up. Good, walk yourself all the way back up. Nice. So keep the left leg extended where it is. Bend your right knee and bring the heel in towards the groin. So you're in like a half straddle. So the right knee bends. Good. Heel in towards your groin. Let the knee drop wide. So it's a Janu Shirshasana variation. There you go. And then you're walking your left arm, the inside edge of your left leg. Walk that left hand towards the inner left heel. Good. Turn the rib cage open. Take the right arm over the ear. Good. Nice, you guys. Keep the sit bones rooted to the floor. Watch the rotation on your left leg, the extended leg. If the toes are starting to fall in or out, you need to do a little bit of activity in that hip and in your thigh to keep the toes oriented straight up. So if the toes are falling backwards or falling out, you got to rotate that inner thigh down a little bit. If your toes are falling in, you got to rotate a little bit outward. Good. Chest open towards the sky. One more breath. Good. And then walk yourself all the way back up to center, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Yep. Spinal twist. Bring that right hand back behind you. Good, little twist. And as you're twisting, again, drop down through that left sit bone. You got to remember the twist comes from the core of the body, from the belly, from the ribs. Good. And then keep the left hand where it is. Take the right arm up alongside your ear and then lean again over that extended left leg. So the same side body stretch, but now in the twist. So you're rotating your rib cage. Good. Keep that left leg really engaged. So again, you're not falling into, oh, this is the position and I stop moving. You're staying really dynamic. So that left heel is drawing down. You're pulling that left thigh into the hip socket. You're rotating your ribs, navel and throat back. And somewhere in there, you're also breathing. Good. And then bring yourself all the way back up to center. Unwind yourself. Nice job. And switch to the other side, please. So take the right leg out and wide. Bend the left knee, bring the foot to the inside of the groin. Might be touching the right thigh. It might not. Good. And then walk the right hand on the inside of the leg towards the inner heel. Rotate the ribs open. Take the left arm over the ear. Side stretch. Good. So Joanne, just bend your left knee. Yep, there you go. Nice, you guys. Again, the whole idea here is that you're spiraling the rib cage open, open, open. So however much you can or cannot get towards that straight leg, getting down towards the floor, not so important. You're working the openness of the trunk, the openness of the ribs. Good. Bring yourself back up to center, please. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Bring your right hand to your outer left knee. Left fingertips just back behind you into a twist. Good. Again, drawing the rib cage back and in. Drop through that right butt cheek. Drop it down. There you go. And then draw your rib cage in again. Nice. Now keep that right hand where it is. Take the left arm back up alongside your ear and then lean over the right thigh again. So now the twisting side stretch. Good. You're still working though with opening the rotation of the rib. So drawing the rib cage and opening that left armpit more. Use that right hand against the left knee to help that happen, right? So you actually give a little pressure of that hand into the knee, maybe even bend the elbow and then send that left armpit a little higher. Good. Nice, you guys. And then slowly release, come all the way back up. Nice job. Good. Bring the bottoms of the feet together, please. Knees nice and wide. Badakanasana. Good. Again, letting yourself walk forward first. You can hold the feet if you'd like or extend the arms. And then give a little squeeze of your knees up towards your ribs again. So once you've found your forward fold, squeeze the knees up and in. Good. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And as you squeeze in, press your seat back and wide as though, again, you're trying to separate your sit bones. You're trying to widen your seat. Nice. Good. And then release the squeeze of the knees. Let yourself drop maybe just a touch deeper into the stretch. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Nice job. So left leg extends straight out in front of you. Good. Draw the right knee up in towards your chest. So bring it up in towards your chest. Good. And then you're reaching your left hand inside the knee. Reach for the foot to lift the right foot up off the floor. Yep. And reach with your, right hand, same hand for the foot or for the outer edge of the foot. Sorry. There you go. I'm like watching you do it as I'm saying it and then like trying to adjust what I'm saying to what I'm seeing you doing. Never mind. Good. So stretch that leg first into that frog position. So the knee comes back towards your armpit. Yeah, almost like you're doing a seated half happy baby. So draw that right knee back towards your right armpit. You got it. But then lean your chest slightly forward. So again, you're coming forward towards the front edge of your sit bones. I just want you to be able to feel the difference, right? That you're not leaning back onto the fleshy part of your butt, but you're leaning forward towards the front edge of your sit bones. Good. Nice. Now maintain that. Start to straighten that right leg out to the side, toes oriented straight up towards the ceiling. So again, you're watching that rotation. Good. Lean forward slightly towards the front edge of your sit bones and then take your left arm out wide. So you've got a balanced, position there. Good. Nice, you guys. Chest up. Hug your arm bones in, but press out through the ball of that right foot. Good. Nice. One more breath. This is 3/4 of the way to sundial. Good. And then draw that knee back in towards the armpit, back towards that half happy baby. Beautiful. And then hug the knee all the way in towards your chest. Good. And then release it down to the floor. Stretch the right leg down. Bring the left knee in towards your chest. Good. Left hand reaches for the baby toe edge of your foot. Elbow should be inside the knee. That's what's easiest, right? Elbow inside the knee. There you go. And then start with the knee bent. Draw the knee back towards your left armpit, but then lean slightly forward. So again, you're rocking towards the front edge of your pelvis as you draw that knee back, as you draw the thigh back. Good. Yeah, you can totally use that right hand behind you for balance or for leverage. Good. Yeah, because it's important that if we're not on that front edge of the sit bones, is that we're going to lose length, right? We're going to lose availability in our legs and in the back, right? Less stability. Good. Start to straighten that left leg out to the left. Good. Still leaning forward towards the front edge of your sit bones. Again, it might feel like the stretch is a little bit more intense, but you can keep that subtle bend in the knee, press the foot into the hand. Good. And you can work with that, right? Right arm extends out wide to the right when you've got it. Good. So chest up. Again, finding the length of your spine. This is the challenge of seated positions, right? It's keeping your spine lifted with the potential limitation of having your legs on the floor, or having your pelvis on the floor. Good. Nice, you guys. Chest open. Up, up, up. Yes, nice, Mark. And then bend that left knee again, please. Bring it all the way in towards your chest. Good. And then bend both knees, bring the bottoms of the feet together. Badakanasana one more time. Inhale the arms up to the sky this time. Good. Again, active legs. So press the baby toes down into the floor, a little squeeze of the knees, lean forward, forward fold with the arms alongside your ears. So extend, extend, extend. And as you're reaching forward with your armpits, you're pressing back through your seat. Press the butt back. Good. And then release the squeeze of the knees, release the hands to the floor. Nice. Beautiful. Walk your hands back in, please. Just for fun, again, if you have a rolled blanket underneath you, you might want to come off of it just for a moment, but hold your ankles, please. Find the edge of your sit bones, chest lifted nice and high. Come up onto the tippy toes of your feet. So again, you're balancing your weight on your sit bones, and then take your legs out and wide, holding the ankles. So you're balancing in that wide-legged straddle position, feet off of the floor. There you go. Yep. Knees, if the legs can't come completely straight, that's okay. You can even hold behind the thighs instead of the feet, if that helps. Good. The idea is to find the lift of your spine, the wideness of the groins. Again, a position that you would never do in normal life. Unless you're in my life, I do this sort of thing, you know, for fun. Lift your chest up. Good. Nice, nice, nice. One more breath. Chest lifts. Beautiful. And then bend the knees, please. Place the feet back down to the floor. Awesome. All right, here we go. So right knee stays bent. Left leg extends out in front of you. So if you can, so right knee stays bent and wide. So let's start there. Yantrasana. There you go. So if you can balance here with that right knee bent in this position, you're going to leave it there, right? If you feel like it's not stable on your pelvis, you can straighten that leg out in front of you. But the right leg is your supporting leg, staying there, right? Draw your left knee in towards your chest. Yep. And then you're going to turn the shin. So the baby cradle, right? You turn the shin towards the floor, right? Lift that shin up parallel to the floor. You can rock it from side to side if you want. So your right hand is going to hold the outer edge of your left foot. Yep. So turn your shin like it's in pigeon. Yep. Knee nice and wide. Yeah, it's just, yep, exactly. You got it. And then let it rock from side to side for a moment. So just the hip gets the sensation of opening, drawing wide, drawing wide, drawing wide. Good. And then again, setting you up this way because you're going to keep that right hand at your left foot. So come back to stillness. And you're turning the right hand at the baby toe edge of your foot so that your thumb is, or the fingers are pointing down. Yep. And your left hand is coming down to the floor inside your left knee crease. So between the legs, left hand down to the floor. Good. So you're lifting that left knee nice and high, like it's going to come up over the shoulder, but your left hand is on the floor. Left hand is on the floor. Right knee stays on the floor. Good. Left knee hikes nice and high. You're going to start to extend it out wide to the left as you turn and look underneath the right armpit. Good. This is Sundial. Welcome. Good. Deep breath. Again, drawing in towards the core of your body. Lift your chest, rotate. Yes. And then slowly release, please. Unwinding the arm, bending the knee. Good job. Give yourself a shake if you need it. And then let's try the other side. Good job, you guys. So the left knee is going to stay bent, right? Right leg extends, left foot to the inside of the right thigh. And again, this is the leg that's staying put, balancing. So if it didn't feel stable on the first side, you can straighten that left leg out and that's totally fine. But if you can, keep it bent. Draw the right knee in towards your chest. Good. And then bring it into that baby cradle. So holding the baby toe edge of your foot with your left hand. Good. Right hand to the outer knee. Turn the shin parallel to the floor. Rock from side to side. So again, you're just giving the hip a little bit of awareness that you want that knee to go wider than your shoulder, to go wider than your hip. Good. So it's like the shin is in almost a pigeon position, moving from side to side. You got it. Good. And then once you've sort of set that up, good. You're keeping that left hand at your left foot, or sorry, at your right foot. Just flip the hand so that your thumb points down towards the floor. Right hand comes down to the floor between the legs. Good. And then you're lifting that right hip as high as it will go, like it's going to go up over your shoulder. Keep that right hand pressing down to the floor. And then start to stretch your right leg out to straight. Look underneath the left armpit. So you're turning your ribs to the left. Yep, I know it's a big one, Mark. Good. Yeah, move slow. The idea here is that it's all about that orientation of your spine. If you can't get the twist, as the hamstring stretch is not going to mean anything. If your knee is slightly bent, that's fine. You're still just working this relationship between the ribs and the shoulder. Good. Nice, you guys. And then slowly release and unwind. Awesome job. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Good. Yin style forward fold, which means that I want you to just hang forward for a moment, round your back, let your hands rest alongside your legs, palms facing up. Good. Relax your feet. Nice. Just a moment to hang. Good. And then slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Nice job. Find your way onto your back. So scoot forward on your mat. If you have a block, bring it with you. I had this whole thought of what I might have done with the strap, but we didn't do it. That's okay. So bend your knees, plant your feet, lift your hips and place the block underneath your sacrum. Supported bridge pose. And then just let your arms stretch out wide, letter T. Good. And again, feel the flow of breath. It gets that subtle wave that washes over you, washes through you. Say the relationship, we make it so complicated. Even in yoga practice, we make it so complicated. What am I doing and what is that internal light and how do I talk to it and how do I reflect it and how do I be it and how do I speak it and what does it mean, this, that, the other thing. When the relationship is really much more like the relationship of the sun and the earth. They're just together. Or the ocean and the shore. As one washes over the other. And so if we let the relationship be one that is easy in that way, as we start to feel the presence of that inner light as something that we don't have to chase. And that even if it is ebbing and flowing, is that when it seems to ebb away, is it will always flow back. We don't have to chase it. But the light is the light. It's always present. It's dynamic. And the way to stay connected to it is not through trying to force it to maintain one shape, one form, but we continue to shift and shift and shift and shift, like each position on that sundial. You orient yourself over and over again to the inner light. I can see it, I can feel it. And if I can't, I shift my perspective. I shift how I'm looking. Take one more breath. And then slowly release the block from underneath you, or move the block out from underneath you. Let the hips soften back down towards the floor. Good. And draw the knees in towards your chest. Please take the right thigh on top of the left thigh, stacking the knees. Separate your feet, reach for the ankles or the shins. Relaxing the shoulders to the floor. And all of those positions, all of those moments that feel like they're too big, leaves us exposed, vulnerable. And those are the perfect places, yoga says, to invite in or interact with that inner light and say, oh, okay, here's a place where I would normally shut down, push back, hide. What happens if you don't? If you don't create shadows or don't run to that? You won't know what happens until you're standing in that moment. And you let it be. Unwind your legs and switch to the other side. Take the left leg on top of the right, stacking the knees, separate your feet. Reach for the ankles or the shins, knees angled in towards your belly. So again, you're drawing the knees in, keeping the low back nice and wide. Sundial, we can celebrate the sun all that we want, and it certainly is a beautiful week for it. Lots of sun. If we don't become aware or stay aware of how it is our orientation to light and to shadow, that either keeps us feeling like we have a constant connection to that flow of energy, to that flow of light, or not. The light doesn't change. Our mind is what's fluctuating. If you keep changing its orientation, where's the light? Turn to it. Good. Unwind your legs, please. Squeeze the knees in towards your chest. Good. Stretch the legs out in front of you. Flex the feet. Take your arms alongside you, palms facing down. Snuggle the arms close to the side ribs. Press down through your seats. You're coming into fish pose. You want to bring your legs down to the floor, Joy. Good. Press down at the forearms, please. Squeeze behind the heart and start to squeeze those back muscles so the sternum lifts up, 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 up. Shoulder blades roll back. Top of the head drops to the floor as the throat opens. And press down through your seat, through your inner thighs. Sit bones wide. Good. One more full breath. And then slowly release, please, unwinding the spine. Good. If you'd like a final spinal twist, you're welcome to take one, drawing the knees in towards the chest, maybe scooting the hips over to the left, dropping the knees to the right. If there's another version of spinal twist you want to do, feel free. And then when you feel that you are ready to settle yourself into Shavasana, the legs come out in front of you, feet dropping wide, arms alongside you, palms facing up. And go back to that feeling of the breath washing over you. Feel it up and down the spine, but not limited to the spine. So it's like a wave. wave of prana, wave of breath. Very gently bring the awareness back to the breath. Let the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw the knees in towards the chest, roll to the right side. Taking a moment before you begin to push the floor away, come back to an upright seated position. And drawing the hands together, palm to palm at the heart. And then just for a moment, dropping your awareness to the space of your belly, around the navel. This is where we imagine that inner sun to be. So there's the flame that is at the heart that we say that's the embodied soul, rests at the heart. But how we take that energy and we transmute it or we turn it into the actual light of the world, the actual activity of the world is from the belly. So the inner fire that is in you. And so we wonder, how do we reorient ourselves to the inner light over and over again? Well, you have to find it. You have to find where it lives in you among what you think are your shadows. In those moments when you feel the most vulnerable or you feel the most exposed and you want to run, that's the moment to bring yourself back to this image of either the light at the belly, the light at the heart, the light at the crown. The light is unchanging, unchangeable. What changes is your mind's connection to it, your perspective of it. So every time you find yourself in that state where you want to run, find the image of the light that calls you and stay. And every time you do that, the experience of the light being within you as you grow stronger. And that feeling that you are separate, falling away from it and falling back into it becomes less and less and less until it's always simply there. So you are the sundial. You measure your own light, your own darkness, your own shadows. And you are the one that has the power to keep shifting, keep reorienting yourself to where is that light? Where does it exist in me? And I embrace that there is light in me. And this overcomes all shadows, all fear, all doubt. So with that, and close with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Om. Slide the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week. Just remember, starting next week, this class is at 6 o'clock, 6 to 7:15, and it will be open to in studio as well as online. So either one that you're interested in, I'll see you then. Okay. And then I know, Joanne, you've probably heard this already, and you're the only one who's not a TT, but water and juice drive this Saturday, if you're interested in that. Also, there's sound healing. Dave Miller is doing Tulsidas Dave doing sound healing. So either in studio or online. So if you're interested in that, please check it out this Saturday. Okay.
Great. Thank